Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Ohio Train 705 railfanning video. In early November, my mom took me down to Conway Yard for a private tour for a late birthday present. She met up with one of her friend's husbands, and it turns out he was one of the managers for the yard. He was happy to take me on a tour of the yard, so we did just that. In this video, you will be seeing Conway Yard up close, trains on the Norfolk Southern Pittsburgh sub, and the CSX Pittsburgh division. We traveled to 4 different cities throughout this video, so make sure you watch it all. And after that's all said and done, I want to give a huge thanks to AJ, the guy who took me on the tour, for taking the time out of his day to give me this tour. He was a really nice guy and said he would love to take me again another time in the future. And oh, I almost forgot to mention, we saw the brick well in the yard. Unfortunately, it would move out the next night, so we did not get it on camera. I hope you enjoy this video.
That's what's called a retarder. So you have one that's back up the hill, that's called the master retarder. So when the car comes over the hill, depending on its weight, because there's a scale up there, and its destination, it determines at what speed it should handle it, because we want that car to reach the other end at about roughly 3 miles an hour.
Okay.
So there's a science to it, and we got weather. Weather man.
Yeah, there's lots of area to explore.
Yeah. All our company vehicles are lights of speed and altitude.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There's a good look. And then you got all your switch machinery, which are in those little control boxes you see along the tracks.
Yeah.
Those are all switches that'll
Okay.
throw over.
Oh yeah, that looks like there's a couple cars coming down
Yeah. Now see, I didn't hear a whole lot there. So he may be...
There's only a few on that.
Yeah. You're only allowed to cut so many at a time for safety reasons. 5 is the limit.
So they go over the hump. They put 5 on.
Those are what they call reefers, refrigerated boxcars. That's what Frosty rides in, isn't it?
So this thing's going, how is this going? So without an engine, these things can run?
No, it's just gravity. Gravity is taking a hold because they just cut them off.
Oh, wow, okay. So there is nothing powering that.
Absolutely nothing. The only thing controlling it is that retarder that you hear squealing like that.
That's a loud go-go, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
So
see,
that retards it, and then it's going in, and how do they get it to stop?
so at the way other end of the track, you have what is called a skate retarder. And that is a permanently closed brake, metal on metal, and it just basically screws it and stops it. We'll just say they cut this. Caroline, come here. Very fun. Bring in all the cars and fix them.
So this is all maintenance over here.
This is all maintenance.
I see that.
Okay.
Look at all the wheels. More goes.
So what city was it where they had that huge maintenance facility? Was that Altoona? Oh, the locomotive storage, yep.
Yeah.
There's like 3 NS Heritage units down there sitting in there.
Oh, I see.
really?
So here's something that's pretty neat. This waste used to be another hump.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can see
Another go.
these concrete
Yeah.
right in the ground.
Yeah.
That's what our retarders sit on. And so this used to be its own yard. So Conway used to have a westbound hump yard and an eastbound under contract. They say nothing.
Trains that we saw along the steel yard in Cleveland.
Oh yeah. We have these big lightning suppressors. Well, they're only good for the first hit.
Oh.
They protect you for that first hit. Yeah, that second hit, they hit it here.
Operation Lifesaver.
Yep.
I just had to get recertified.
What does that mean? Oh. Gotcha. On the operation.
Our first train of the trip was Norfolk Southern empty coal train 572 after getting recruited in Conway Yard. Today's 572 had a solo Norfolk Southern GE on the point. A couple minutes passed as I saw Norfolk Southern 64K coming up to Conway Yard with the fresh crew. The Norfolk Southern leader had a stunning P5 horn. Immediately after 64 cleared Conway Yard, a Norfolk Southern manifest train, which was Norfolk Southern 10K, departs Conway Yard. 10K is nicknamed the Region Northern Express due to the large amount of Region Northern hoppers on the train. Just like that, another Norfolk Southern ethanol train raced out of the yard with the BNS-7 engine second. It was NS-67E, a crude oil train out of Chicago, Illinois to Eddystone, Pennsylvania. After stopping for a brief recrew, Norfolk Southern 269 made its trek to its final destination of Chicago, Illinois, with a couple of GEs for power. After Norfolk Southern 269 cleared, we went over to New Brighton, Pennsylvania along the Bing Beaver River, just in time to catch loaded sand train 61W, with a very colorful array of power, consisting of Norfolk Southern, BNSF, and CSX. After seeing nothing for about 2 hours, I was very excited when I heard B-157 calling signals. Today, B-157, strangely enough, had some mixed freight on the front half of the train, probably when he picked up from Willard, Ohio. Our final train in New Brighton, Pennsylvania would be Norfolk Southern 35N, making its daily run out of Conway, Pennsylvania to Madison, Illinois. The power on today's train was a Norfolk Southern depot and a Union Pacific depot. After Norfolk Southern 35N passed, we got dinner and headed back to Conway, Pennsylvania for the night. It was pretty dark outside and wet, so bear with me here for the camera work. This Norfolk Southern intermodal train turned out to be Norfolk Southern 25P out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for Chicago, Illinois, with a pair of GEs. Another 10 minutes passed when we saw our next train, which turned out to be Norfolk Southern 39G. 39G is a daily Camden, New Jersey to Conway, Pennsylvania mixed freight train. Notice the UP power. We would see a lot of it this trip. Next in line was the daily trash train 63V, bound for Mingo Junction, Ohio. Little did we know that later in the night, this train would derail into the Ohio River near Steubenville, Ohio. Also to note that this was definitely the worst smelling train I have ever experienced in my entire life of rail fanning. Definitely absolutely disgusting. After waiting for a bit, Norfolk Southern 38G would show up out of the yard with a ton of empty gondolas. The next morning we awoke and entered in New Rochester, Pennsylvania. New Rochester, Pennsylvania is along the Ohio River, with the Norfolk Southern Pittsburgh Division and the CSX Pittsburgh line. The first train of the day would be Norfolk Southern 16G, with the Union Pacific GE trailing third out. After Norfolk Southern 16G cleared, we heard the CSX defect detector going off. A couple minutes later, CSX I-137 came rumbling across the bridge over the Ohio River with a solo CSX GE. After waiting for about 30 minutes, our next train came into view. It was another CSX, and particularly CSX I-135, daily stacks out of Portsmouth, Virginia for Chicago, Illinois, with a couple of CSX GEs in charge of today's train. minutes away. Don't know if you can see that too well, but
12 G. Alright, stay on your head end. Stay on your head end. Come on. Come on up and over. Which, you'll get...
after waiting for another 30 minutes, another train came into view, and yet again it was another CSX. This time a southbound, which would be CSX M332, daily freight out of Avon, Indiana for Cumberland, Maryland. As I mentioned already, this train had MAU equipment on it, and I know you couldn't see it too well. A little while later, I heard on my scanner that Norfolk Southern 35N was ready to depart Conway Yard. A little while of waiting, Norfolk Southern 35N would appear in Rochester, Pennsylvania, with the NS GEVO leading in a Union Pacific mid-DPU. Our next train, as you can clearly tell, I almost missed. It was an unknown eastbound intermodal train.
Holy crap.
Our next train of the day was CSX I-138, daily stacks out of Chicago, Illinois, for Penn Mary Yard in Baltimore, Maryland. Of course, the rain had to start pouring when this train came, so it may not have been the best video. Around the corner, in came Norfolk Southern 269 with stacks. Norfolk Southern 269 had 2 out of the 3 locomotives being SD70 Aces, including the leader. Our next turn of the day came as a little delightful surprise. This train is Norfolk Southern 73N, empty ore out of Huff Power Plant in Pennsylvania to the docks in Ashtabula Harbor. And our last train of this very awesome trip would be Norfolk Southern 28M, daily stacks out of Chicago, Illinois for Morrisville, Pennsylvania. This train was carrying 2 NSGEs, and as I already said, this would be the last train of the day. So if you like this video, please comment and share your thoughts and opinions of how I should do better in the future. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great weekend.